What's up everybody, Jay here and welcome back to the Planted Tank. And today I'm going to be talking about this super low tech, low budget planted tank that I have here. And a lot of people think it takes, you know, an ungodly amount of money in order to set up a planted tank, which is just not the case. And so basically these plants here, my Anubias, I already had those, and the big, tall, swoopy plants that you see here in the background are water sprite. And with water sprite, you can either grow it as a floating plant or you can have it planted, and it actually does really well planted. I'm not sure how well it's gonna do in this gravel being planted like this. I do have root tabs back there in the back, but this plant has always grown like a weed for me. You don't need any kind of special substrate. You don't need Eco-Complete. You don't need anything besides gravel and maybe a couple of root tabs. But this tank, here in a couple months, you'll see it's gonna turn into an absolute jungle in there. And I'm super excited about it. But I do have one plant back there in the back, those stem plants. I forget what they're called. I think it's Pogostemon or Pogostemon octopus, something like that. I've never tried those before, but I said screw it, you know what, might as well give it a try. I've heard it's really easy to grow and it grows like a weed. I also have some floating plants up there. Those are Salvinia minima. I've never tried those before either, but they came along with some free duckweed. But duckweed is absolutely awesome. It's a good plant for getting rid of excess nutrients and stuff. So like I said, this tank is filterless. All I have back here is a air pump, and that is specifically just for extra water flow next to my heater. I've never had a heater go bad on me, and that is always because I have my heater with water flow, strong water flow right next to it. I always have it right next to that filter inlet, and I think that is the biggest reason as to why people have heaters go bad on them, is because you know, they heat up and then that heated water next to it, it ends up just overheating and then they go bad. I wanted to talk a little bit about this substrate, and this substrate is Quikrete all-purpose gravel. It says right on the bag that it's good for fish ponds and aquariums. The worst part about it is that it takes forever to rinse this stuff, but it's super cheap. It's $5 at Home Depot or Lowe's, and you get 50 pounds of it. I mean, you're not gonna go to any fish store and find gravel that cheap. And not only that, but it has this really nice natural look to it. It's got more of a gray color to it than the classic, you know, super brown color that you normally see. I actually have some of that in my other 40 gallon going right now. That's a dirted tank. This tank has no dirt in it right now. And my point with just having the gravel in there by itself is that once this tank is fully cycled and I throw fish in there, I'm not gonna gravel vac this at all. If you think about it, with how big the gaps are down here between each little pebble, your fish food, any uneaten fish food and fish poo is gonna fall between those cracks, and then the bacteria that lives down there is gonna break that stuff down, and it's gonna turn into really good plant nutrients. It does, the worst part is that it takes a while for all that stuff to start building up. So over time, this stuff is just gonna get more and more nutrient rich. And as long as you're not in there gravel vacuuming, I think it'll do just fine. I don't have any kind of heavy root feeders in there right now, but over time, I think I might add some, you know, maybe dwarf Sagittaria, or some S-Repens or something that's super easy to grow and doesn't require any CO2 or high lighting. The light that I have on this tank is one of my favorites. I've been using these lights for years. It is a Current USA Satellite Freshwater LED Plus. This is the 24-inch model. And as you can see, I kind of bent the legs for it in order to raise it up a little bit. That way my floating plants get adequate amounts of light. And like I said, I got the Anubias in there, and I have the water sprite. If you guys haven't ever used water sprite before, it kind of sends off little nodes and then you can clip those nodes off and plant those roots right down into the gravel, and then it'll just grow into another huge bush. So this tank probably in about a month or two is gonna look completely different from what it looks like now. But in order for a tank like this to work, you gotta pick your plants wisely. You can't just, you can't grab dwarf hair grass. You can't really do Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo would probably work as long as you're using a good liquid fertilizer, which I am using. This right here is Nelock G Thrive, and this is the Thrive C version, which is for low-tech aquariums. And honestly, as long as you guys have some of this, your plants are gonna grow just fine, especially if you have some root tabs in there for your root feeding plants like S. repens, Dwarf Sagittaria, Jungle Val. Jungle Val does fantastic in just gravel setups. So, like I said, I haven't tried the Pagostemon Octopus before, so I figured I'd give it a try. But yeah, I don't know what kind of fish I'm gonna put in here yet, but I'm thinking it's definitely something very small, maybe some black neon tetras or something. Even those kind of get a little too big for a setup like this, but I could just go with some shrimp. That'd be kind of cool. If you guys have any suggestions on what you think I should put in here, it's just a 15-gallon tank, so can't be nothing crazy. Also, when it comes to filtration, these pebbles are going to house way more beneficial bacteria than any filter that you could put on this tank. So it's just gonna take it a while to build up. I probably won't add any fish or shrimp to this tank for probably about a month or two. And I've been feeding this tank with fish food just to get the bacteria colony started, to get some ammonia building up in there. And like I said, that uneaten fish food is just gonna fall right between all these tiny little cracks, and the bacteria is gonna start growing down there, and everything that falls down there is gonna get broken down and turned into plant nutrients. So you really don't need, a whole lot of money to get into this hobby, which is awesome. There's so many different ways to go about it. I could have put dirt down here for free. I could have just went out back and took a shovel out of the ground, baked it just to make sure there's none of them crazy amphipods that eat plant roots in there, which is something I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about. That's the main reason why I bake my dirt, is because I don't want those amphipods that eat plant roots in there destroying my plants, and then the next thing you know, you're wondering why all your plants are just dying for no reason. I've actually had those in my aquarium before, and they are no joke. They eat plant roots and your plants just die. And they're about a 1/4 inch or so, kind of a big bug that just lives underwater. It's kind of crazy looking, but yeah, I'm excited to see these water sprite plants go nuts, and it's going to be a nice, fun little no CO2 low-tech tank. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and keep it planted.